Hello, today I wanted to show you how you can take a lovely napkin using the beautiful art and images that are on the napkin to make 8 cards. These are the 2 cards that we're going to make from those napkin images. You can see that I've got the big flower and this little cluster, the purple flowers, and this is one card. And here's the other card where I put the sunflowers in the middle, and I inked up this edge and added a die cut here. And I also grabbed a butterfly from this napkin here. I grabbed that butterfly, and on this napkin I grabbed this butterfly to put on this card just for a little extra accent. So I'm going to cut those butterflies out. Each napkin has 4 images, and the image is quite large, so we are actually going to divide the image right about here, so we can use these 2 flowers on one card and the rest of the arrangement on another card using a napkin. Now, a napkin usually has about 3 layers, so we need to remove the layers, and here's an easy way to remove the layers, because we just want the top layer. Let's see, there should be another layer. Sometimes it's hard to get, aha, it worked. There are usually 3 layers to napkins, so we need to peel back the extra layers so that we only have 1 layer left. The layer that has the flowered images on it. And then we are going to divide the napkin into the 4 parts. And since we're going to get 2 cards from each image, that will give us 8 cards. You could also rip it if you're careful. Okay, so now we have 4 images. So we'll work with the 1 image right now. I'll put these 3 aside. And we're going to divide this because the flowers are so lovely. I don't want to just cut it down the middle. I really want to use these for 1 card and this for another. So I'm going to cut right close to this leaf here. I'm going to follow the shape of the image. Say that leaf, say that stem. We'll go around the sunflower. Okay, so we have 2 images. And then we need card bases. This is your 8.5 by 11 card base. You cut it in half, you get 2 card bases, and we are going to place this on here, and you can decide, you know, at what height. I kind of want to keep that flower, so we'll put it a little lower. We'll cut off the extra, but that's going to go on there, and this is going to go on here. Approximately the middle. The easiest way to peel off the layers is to take a piece of masking tape and just stick it to the back, grab a hold of the front, and you can peel off the layers. And there we go. This one's real sticky. Now, sometimes that second layer, oops, I missed a piece. Sometimes that second layer still has some color on it, and that could even be used as a background if you're going to be putting something on top. So I'm going to set this one aside to be used for that purpose for another video. And I will cut those out a little bit closer so they don't have all this extra paper. And I don't want that little green leaf there, so I want to make sure to cut off that little green leaf. So I save this little butterfly. And I'll trim this up a little bit too. And so we have the two butterflies that we took from another napkin that will not take away from using those napkins for another card. The layers that I took off. I'm just going to throw those on my dinner table with my napkins, and we'll use those for napkins that are plain. And I did keep the ones that have a little bit of print on them. This one is actually quite lovely. And I've used it once before for a backdrop, and I have another video where I show you how I did that. And I haven't used this one as a backdrop, but this would also make a nice backdrop for a card, which I will save those. So those are for a different purpose. To apply our tissue paper to our card base, we're going to use Mod Podge. Mod Podge comes in a variety of mediums. This one is a matte finish. This one is specifically to use with fabric or tissue. And this one, you can put this on when you're finished and it will give a shiny or a glossy surface. It says luster. And this one, if you want to have sparkles, you would use this one. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to use this one here. I could use this one or that one. Okay, let's apply this. So I'm going to put an even layer of this. You know what? I'm going to put a paper in here just to keep it from sticking to. I'm going to cover the entire surface so that we have a sticky surface. Try to do an even layer. It is going to leave a bit of a texture to the card, and that's fine. I like texture. Texture's fun. Now we decide where we want to put it. I want it to cover up pretty much the whole card. I'm going to use my brayer, starting in the middle, and just sort of flatten it out. Now I don't want it to be stuck to my paper here, so I'll remove that. Okay, now that is flat on there, and we'll trim these edges later once it dries, but we're going to set that card aside and we'll work on the other card. So for my other base, I'm going to apply this, but before I do, I want to do a little bit of inking. So I've chosen Pear Pizzazz, which is sort of a dull green. I thought it was similar to the color of the green on the leaves. And I'm just going to, oh yes, I have to have this here. Just pick up a little bit of ink, and I want to, in little circles, apply some ink to this right side of the card. And it's okay if it leaves sort of some darks and lights and interesting texture. That will just add to the ambience of the card. I want this edge to be a little darker. Just little circular movements. So that's going to go on there like that. Yeah, that'll be fine. See how that's going to go on there. Sort of like that. Ready to apply our Mod Podge to add our lovely decoration. Now, using napkins, especially the ones that have lovely, beautiful artwork, you don't have to color anything. Very little cutting. I'm just going to go ahead and cover the whole card, including where I have inked it. Now we place it. I want to have both flowers on. And we'll roll it on with our brayer. And I want to separate it from this paper. We'll trim the edges off later. Right now, I need to take my brush and my brayer to the sink and wash them up before we do the next thing. Washing my brayer and my brush, I have set some weights just to hold the cards down flat, because they tend to, whenever you apply a glue or any type of slightly liquidish, the paper might bow up a bit. So I am going to leave these on here while I wash off my other supplies. Cleaned off my supplies. And I do need to add the butterflies, but I'm going to use a smaller brush for that. Let's just slide you over here a little bit. I want to add my butterflies. Okay. I want the purple butterfly down, kind of coming off of this leaf right here. So we'll just I'm going to put this up here. Now last time I put it, it's a little too close to the edge. That's not the best composition to have it where it touches the very edge. There should be a little gap there, and it's a little too close to my word believe. So I'm going to place this one a little bit higher. I think I want it to be up here for a better placement. So now that I know where I want it, that gives me a bigger space for my word. Then I will put some Mod Podge on here and then apply there. That's a better placement. So we'll let those dry, and I'm gonna just set my scissors on here to just keep it kind of flat. Give that a little bit of time to dry. While those are drying, I'm going to set them aside. We're going to do something else. This card, I want to cut out this, which comes from the set here. I don't know the name of it. It comes from Stampin' Up. And so my die cut, and I want the word believe. Now this set I bought from Amazon, but they were all attached. There were 2 sheets, they were all attached. I detached all these words because, okay, I can't see them very well. All these words, and some of them are images. And I'm not gonna like do the whole sheet. I will do individual. Like for this card, I just wanted this one word believe. And I don't want to cut all of them out, so I decided to separate them. And then I was like, well, what do I do with all these pieces? So I got this case from Stampin' Up. And what I did is I cut out each one in black paper and glued them onto a sheet. I made myself a label. I called them holiday word dies. I don't know what they're called, but this is what I call them. And I just inserted that there. There was one extra that I could not fit inside, that I could not fit on here. So what I did was I made it inside. I glued it to a paper on the inside. So this shows me what is in the set. So I kind of organized it. Now what I need to do, because I don't like how they just sort of float around in this box, what I'm going to do is get me a magnetic sheet and cut it to size to fit in here. I might need 2 sheets. And I will just stick them on a magnetic sheet inside here, so I have an organized way to keep my dies. This set I bought from Amazon because I like to look for affordable. Oops, I missed the tree. See, that's the problem. You can lose them. So I'm just going to use this one. Actually, no, I need to use Hope. Okay, I need to find Hope. Well, I might not always use Hope. I did for that card because this card I planned for it to be a sympathy card for someone who's just lost his wife. Hope. Thinking of you with sympathy, wishing you strength for today and hope for tomorrow. And I thought that was a cohesive message. But this could be a birthday card. And with these dark colors, you could put like a white label with a sentiment across there. So I might do something different with that card. So no, I'm not going to cut out the hope. I'm just going to cut out the word believe. Need my Big Shot machine and my black paper for the word believe. Make our sandwich. Now, when I do detailed cuts, you know, the sandwich, sometimes it's good enough, but I add an extra layer, a very thin piece of cardboard, just to make sure that I get a good cut. And I will roll it through one way, and then I will roll it back so it goes through twice, just to make sure that I get a good cut. All right, now I need to separate that. Sometimes if you just throw it, yes, it comes off. And it came off pretty nice. Now, that by itself, it's really thin, you can see. So what I did is I cut out 3, and it's much thicker. See the difference? These are very delicate words. See, this one is much bolder, side by side. See the thickness? You can see the thinness, and see this is much thicker. So it just pops out a little better. So I will cut 2 more of these, and I'll show you how I glue them together. Sometimes it doesn't come out when you throw it down. So that's where I use my little pin trick. And I just push it out, the tiniest holes. Okay, and it is out. I have 2. I need to get 1 more. I do have this that you can roll on to, and it helps sometimes, but it doesn't always do a great job. So that's where I use my little pin to poke them out, and it's very effective. And I keep my pin right here in this foam so that I always know where it is and I don't lose track of my pin. Okay, so I have my 3 believes. Make sure they're all facing me. Now I don't have a small dispenser. I'm pretty comfortable using this. This is my favorite glue, my all-purpose glue. It doesn't leave my hands sticky. It dries on my hands. And I'm only putting little tiny dots of glue. I'm not squeezing hard. I just want the smallest amount of glue. And then, because it's easier to work on a white surface, I can wash that off. I'm gonna put my word here. And then I'm going to take the next one and carefully place it on top. Okay. Notice that this is separated right there. It'll get stronger as I add the layers. So I'll put that back here. And I'll put some more glue. You'll have to excuse my voice. I got a bit of a sore throat. had a cold, and then I still got a cough, and my voice is a little rough, so it doesn't sound so wonderful right now. I'll have to clean that off. So now we have our Believe, which is thick. Now, if I had clear embossing powder or black embossing powder, I would ink this up with, I would use the Versamark and I would ink it, and then I would sprinkle the powder on and run it under a dryer, a heat emboss gun, and that would make these letters shiny, and it just would be a nice thing. But I don't have that, so, and I've decided those are two things I need to have: clear embossing powder and black embossing powder. I have silver, I have bronze, I have gold. Now I need black. I need to add to my list black and clear, because either one would work with this, and that would give just a really lovely glossy finish and just make this stronger and shiny. I just think it'd help it to pop really good. So I have an alternative plan. When you don't have what you would like to have, there's usually a way. If there's a will, there's a way. Now I am ready to glue this on here. And this looks better than the first card just because there's more space here. Because I left enough white space. I can come down just a little bit right in here. So it's sort of sandwiched between the two flowers. We're ready to glue that on. So this time I flip it over and I'm going to put glue on the back side. I can't stand the way my voice sounds. Can't seem to shake off this roughness. I'm putting the tiniest dots of glue. Get it in good coverage so that it will hold well. Stuck to my fingers. Now I want this to go right on here over the green. I think the black just helps tie it together. It looks like plants growing up. It could almost look like the stems to the sunflower, so I think it works. This may not be the best method to apply the glue, but I've learned to control it. You don't want to squeeze hard, you don't want big blobs. We just want the teeniest tiny dot. I feel like if you move it really quickly and just barely squeeze, that you can get a pretty good coverage. See, I got a pretty good coverage. And I think I want to have the top branches to end on the thing, and we'll cut off whatever's at the bottom. So once I have my position, then I place it on here. I just need to do some trimming. I need to trim that, trim this and that. And the card front is pretty much done, but there is one more thing that I want to do to it. So I'm going to go ahead and trim off the excess napkin. Is that not a lovely card? I like it. I probably should be using bigger scissors for this. I have a cat staring at me. She's sitting over there. Shito, my crafting kitty. Okay, this card front is pretty much done, but there's one thing I want to do to this card. I'm going to go back to my same color ink that I used right here, and I'm going to Oops, I need my background paper to protect my table. Okay, I just want to ink around the edges a little bit. Just gently add a little bit of color with circular motions. This time I'm going to use the luster, and I'm going to go over each card completely with one final layer. I'll go over everything on the card. This will seal everything, and when it dries, it will have a shiny appearance. It's also going to assure that everything is going to stay stuck to the card. Nothing is going to come apart. And it'll give a bit of a texture to the card. Oops, stay down there, please. So what do you think, Shito? Is this interesting to watch? Am I entertaining you by crafting? I am going to put a label here, like a happy birthday or maybe an anniversary. I don't know. It could be either. Or I may leave it blank until I decide if it's going to be a birthday card or an anniversary card. See, it's kind of shiny. Now I need to make sure it doesn't stick together. I'm going to pull it apart. And I'm going to set these aside to dry. They might curl a bit or bow up a bit. But after they're completely dry, I will probably put a book on them to make sure they dry, that they are pressed flat. Right now I will go wash my brush. Now I'm just doing these two cards as a demonstration for you, but when I'm doing like 8 cards altogether, I will do everything. I will do all the inking of that. I think it would have been a better idea if I inked that first before sticking the image on. Okay, that's what I'm going to do with the next one, like this. So I guess I'll show you how that looks, the difference that it makes by doing the inking first. Yeah, that would definitely be better, because I'm not so happy about the way that the little edges look. The first card, I don't know why it looks so different. I only lightly inked it. Perhaps I inked it after I put some Mod Podge on it. I don't know what happened. But, you know, we just play and experiment. Some things work and some things don't. And we learn from every experience. Usually when I sit down to make cards, I usually make several of the same type. So I have my stacks of cards. These are going to be that card, and this stack is going to be that card. So I'm going to make several. And what I'm going to do, first of all, is I'm going to ink all of these on the one side, just like I did before. I will do the whole stack. It's doing it a little bit oddly. For some reason, I think it's because this is a little wet from washing it. I'm going to dry it off. So it's giving it a little bit more texture. So, well, this card will be just slight. Just kind of fade the color a little bit. So I'm just going to do this whole stack the same way, and that way I could just do the process one time and get them all done so that they're prepped before I do any of the gluing. And then when I do the gluing, I will do all the gluing on each of the cards at the same time. It's just, you can get a lot more done systematically rather than doing one card at a time. It is a time saver. because my life is busy. I have constant demanding my time things. I do a lot of work for other people, for my church, for my family, and then I've got things around the home that needs to be done. So, in doing things systematically, I have to do whatever I can to maximize my time, anything that saves me time. Now this, I just want to lightly put a little bit of color around the edges. I want to softly tint the edges. Probably doesn't look like I'm putting on any color at all, but I am, I promise you. See, it just has a little bit of color around the edges. And I will do that step the same way because it's a time saver. It's better to do a single layer. I bought these from Amazon as well. They come in a big size and a small size, and they come as a set. You get a variety of them with different color handles. And they're kind of rounded. See, they're rounded. They have tiny little fibers. They're very, very soft. Of course, it does make a difference how much pressure you apply when you use it. If you want a little bit of color, just press very gently, very softly. If you want a lot of color, you can press a little harder. You can add color without texture, or you can add with texture. It's totally up to you. Okay, so I have my stacks are done. They're pre-inked. So next step will be to glue the napkin pieces on. And I will show you how it looks, how different it looks by doing the inking first as opposed to doing it after. So I've separated my napkins. These will go on those, and this half will go on that. So the next thing I'll do is I will glue, or you could say Mod Podge, decoupage. It's the idea of decoupage. When you take an image and glue it onto another surface. It's the idea of decoupage. Okay, here's the difference between the ones that I inked first and the one that I inked afterwards. It looks much better. All of them look much better when you ink the edges first. So actually there's a great benefit in working a bunch of cards at once and, you know, learn from the mistakes. And just saw a piece of paper sticking out, and to improve it. Now, I think they look good. I don't think I need to ink any more. Let's look at the other ones. The other ones, I only inked the one side. You notice that this butterfly is smaller. My napkins, I found 2 more butterflies. Actually 3 more. I found 3 more butterflies. I haven't put the black on yet. But this one I didn't have another butterfly. And I really like that orange because I think it pulls out the orange here and a little touch there. So I think color-wise it's a really good composition. So I found a paper image that I colored with markers. So it's not the same size, it's a much smaller butterfly, but it still works. So now I just need to add this to each of the cards and decide whether or not I want to put some words on here. Now I want to give a gloss finish to them. I put down a brown paper bag, and I'm going to use Mod Podge gloss spray. Another way to put a gloss on it is to brush on the gloss Mod Podge. I try to go in the same direction, so it is going to give it some texture, but if I go in the same direction, it will be a little less texture. As opposed to going this way, that way, whatever. I feel like it's a little better gloss. See the shine than the spray. Here's another one. This one I made it into a birthday card. I just put birthday wishes. Here's one that I sprayed, and you can see the gloss is only here and there, but not where the napkin is. I sprayed it, but it didn't really cover it well. So I'm going to go ahead and apply the brush because I want the whole card to have a glossy finish, and I want it to look uniform. See, now these, they look, even though I sprayed them, they have a little bit of shine, but not a whole lot. I sprayed it, then I added the label, gluing it on. I think I really like the brushed on gloss, so I'm gonna redo all the rest of these with the brush on gloss because I just like the effect of it. I like the texture, I like the sheen. I just like it a lot better that way. It gives it a nice feel to the card when it's dry. So here are the finished cards. I used one napkin to create 8 cards. Now you're counting and you're saying, wait a minute, that's more than 8, that's 10. Yeah, that's because I made the first 2 before I decided to do this video. I was inspired. Once I had come up with this lovely design, I said, I gotta share how to do this. The one that I wasn't sure about, the one that I had inked afterwards and it had some rough edges that I didn't like, I decided to put a little green lace accent to it, and that hid the parts that I didn't like. There's always a way to hide your flaws, things you don't like, and I think that turned out okay. And I have some string attached to the banner, and so I made 5 birthday cards, 3 believe cards, 1 faith, 1 hope, sympathy card, and I didn't put anything inside yet because I'll wait to see who it's for and decide what message to put in. So these cards will go into my starter bin. Let me show you the starter bin. I have this basket where I keep starter cards. These are cards that it has a backdrop. Here's another one done with napkins. There's another one done with napkins. There's another one done with napkins. I just throw them in here. They have no sentiment. They could be a birthday, an anniversary, sympathy, thank you card, whatever. Who knows what they're going to wind up being. They go in here so that whenever I need a card, I can quickly grab it, decide who it's for, decide what the inside message is, because I don't want to give the same birthday message every year. If I know that I used a particular message inside one year, I don't want to use that the next year. So that's why I always work on keeping a supply of starter cards. So these will all go into my starter package. But I think they turned out really nice. I like the gloss finish. I don't know if you can tell. Let me see, put a light here. You can see they have a glossy finish, and they actually have a nice feel. They're a solid card, even though you think, oh, tissue, well, that's really thin. Well, this is a card base, and with the glossing, it gives it a stronger texture. But they're a nice card. They turned out really nice, and they were really simple, really easy to do, because the artwork The colors are already decided for you. It's just a matter of arranging it. Very little cutting, a little bit of die cutting, and no coloring, hardly no scissoring. The only thing I fussy cut was this tiny little butterfly that I had because I was short on that butterfly, so I had to come up with another butterfly. And that's the only thing I had to color. So we're good. I hope you enjoyed this. If you want to see more napkins turned into cards, I have another video which I will link in at the end of this video, and I'll probably be making some more because I'm really loving these napkins with beautiful art to make lovely quick cards. So I hope you enjoyed that. Thanks for watching.